Welcome to TV, Tennessee Valley Church, our first Sunday on our new home, WAAY 31, and our new time, 10 o'clock on Sunday mornings. This is the most recognizable landmark in North Alabama, the magnificent replica of the Saturn V rocket at the U.S. Space and Rocket Center. I'm proud of the engineers and scientists who literally propelled America to the moon over 5 decades ago. I'm proud of North Alabama's role in the exploration of space. There are lots of reasons to be proud when we're visiting the Space and Rocket Center. Pride, by the way, it's not necessarily a bad thing, but the Bible warns against bad pride. Pride has been called one of the 7 deadly sins. 7 basic, recurring, root sins have been referred to as the 7 deadly sins for more than 1,500 years. Pride, envy, anger, sloth, gluttony, greed, and lust. We're going to be talking about those 7 deadly sins on TV Church beginning today. And today we talk about pride. Pride. Pride is not just the sin of the rich and famous. It's not just the sin of the athletes and cheerleaders. It's not just the sin of the brilliant and the good-looking. The kind of pride against which the Bible warns is a problem for us all. Listen to this verse from the book of Romans based on the Message translation. Let's just go ahead and be what we were made to be, without enviously or pridefully comparing ourselves with each other or trying to be something we aren't. Let me try and be clear. Appropriate pride is appropriate. The pride against which the Bible warns is not the satisfaction you feel when you or someone you love works hard and accomplishes something special. Pride is obsession with one's self. Pride is self-centeredness. Pride is megalomania, an over-exaggerated sense of one's importance. Pride thinks it's my world and you're just living in it. Pride is not merely thinking too much of myself. Pride is thinking of myself too much. And the remedy for pride is humility. James 4:6 says, God opposes the proud but shows favor to the humble. But what is humility? Well, the answer is in Romans 12, verse 3. Think of yourself with sober judgment, or, as the Good News translation has it, be modest in your thinking. Please understand, humility is not self-hatred or self-debasement. Humility is a realistic acknowledgement of our weaknesses and strengths and our relationship with our Creator. So, don't pat yourself on the back and don't beat yourself up. Don't place yourself on a pedestal and don't throw yourself under the bus. Don't puff yourself up and don't put yourself down. Think realistically about yourself. In Numbers 13, Moses had sent out 12 spies to survey Canaan, the land that the Lord had promised to His people. 10 of those spies came back and declared, we can't take the land. There are giants out there. Why, we are grasshoppers in their eyes and ours. If you see yourself as a grasshopper, as insignificant, you won't conquer many promised lands. You are not a grasshopper. But get this, you're also not a giant. You don't live in the shadow of others, but you also don't tower over others. Understanding both those truths is genuine humility. But practically speaking, how do we embrace humility and overcome pride? The deadly sin of pride runs deep. So how do we overcome that? We'll talk about that in a few minutes.
Great is thy faithfulness, O God, my Father. There is no shadow turning with thee. Thou changest not, thy compassions, they fail not. As thou hast been, thou forever will be. Great is thy faithfulness. Great is thy faithfulness. Morning by morning, new mercies I see. All I have needed, thy hand hath provided. Great is thy faithfulness, Lord, unto me. Pardon for sin and a peace that endureth. Thine own dear presence to cheer and to guide. Strength for today and bright hope for tomorrow. Blessings all mine with 10,000 beside. Great is thy faithfulness. Great is thy faithfulness. Morning by morning, new mercies I see. All I have needed, thy hand hath provided. Great is thy faithfulness, Lord, unto me. Great is thy faithfulness. Great is thy faithfulness. Morning by morning, new mercies I see. All I have needed, thy hand hath provided. Great is thy faithfulness, Lord, unto me.
Many people find a healthy sense of pride in their jobs and careers. The Christian Job Corps provides job training for men and women who need a hand up. There's the Christian Women's Job Corps for women and the Achieve Training Center for men. Both programs are free to students and give them the skills they need to get in or back into the job market. Part of the CJC program is spiritual guidance. One thing that makes this training program so successful and special to students is that each man and woman gets a mentor to walk alongside and provide support and encouragement. Justin Ragland is a 2021 graduate of the Achieve Training Center. Here's his story.
Well, it was actually an answered prayer. I'm a recovered alcoholic, and I had been sober for a little over a year. And I was just sitting back saying to myself, you know, I actually want to build something. I want to do something more productive with myself. And so I was at church one Sunday, and I was talking to a gentleman, and I was telling him, you know, I've always had an interest in computer science, computer programming, software development. And he said, you know what, I may have something that can help you with that. And so One thing led to another. He brought me an application. He says, I am a mentor for an organization called the Achieve Center. I mean, there was a time I actually thought about bowing out. And Mr. Ron Wicks had contacted me. And I was just transparent with him. I said, you know what, sir? I don't think I'm cut out for this. And he said some very encouraging words. And we set a hard date. I still remember it was July 8th of this year. I said, I'm going to have this done. There was a portion on the software development side that I was working on that was terrifying me. And I said, I'm going to have this done on that date. And I stayed up to 4:30 in the morning and I finished it. And I was able to get my certificate. So it built, a level of grit and commitment. And it showed me that, if I trust in God and I believe in myself, I'm able to accomplish anything I put my mind to. The mentors meant everything to me. When I met with these gentlemen the first time, I told them, I said, look, I don't have a father figure. You gentlemen are an answered prayer for me. I mean, it's emotional to talk about. They filled a lot of voids for me, and they still do. That's the beautiful thing about it. They're still in contact with me daily, weekly. When I got my certificate through the Achieve Center, he saw it, he couldn't believe it. I mean, he said, Dad, you actually did it. You are actually a software developer. I said, son, now don't get ahead of yourself. I have the skills. I'm still learning, but yes. And so what that has led to, my son now is practicing to become a software developer. My nephews are also doing the same thing. And once I went through the Achieve Center and I had these great Christian men that were mentoring me, they really built confidence in me. I didn't realize how much I was lacking in confidence. And I would definitely say it was confidence building and mindset change. I have had opportunities that I never in my wildest dreams would have ever thought were possible.
For more information on becoming a student or to volunteer, go to cwjc.net.
Back to our topic for today, pride. Practically speaking, how do we embrace humility and overcome pride? The Bible does provide some answers, ways we can prayerfully behave our way into a less prideful attitude. Number one, when you prepare to brag, don't. Proverbs 27:2 says, let another praise you and not your own mouth, someone else and not your own lips. One day in another city, I went to visit a man in the hospital, a recently retired cardiologist, Dr. Bill Holland. This time, he wasn't the doctor, he was the patient. He'd been there for several days. When we were there, when I was visiting with him, the nurse came in who obviously had been taking care of Bill. I said something that caused the nurse to ask Bill, "You're a doctor?" I said, "Bill, you didn't tell her you're a doctor?" He had not. Not only was Bill a doctor, Bill and his medical partner had started the heart catheter lab at that very hospital years earlier. Bill was a big deal at that hospital. But he never even hinted that he was a physician. If that had been me, I think over my hospital gown, I would have worn my lab coat with my name on it. I'm afraid I would have told everybody who took care of me that I was a big deal. I thought that was a great testimony to Bill's character, that he was just Bill. Let's be like Bill. When we're prepared to boast, let's zip it. It's a funny thing. The harder we try to impress people, the less impressed they usually are. People are drawn to those with a quiet confidence, drawn to people who don't have the need to brag or draw attention to themselves. Maybe you've heard the saying, "He that tooteth not his horn, the same shall not be tooted." Then let it not be tooted. Not having it tooted at all is better than pridefully tooting it ourselves. Number two, intentionally point to others. Philippians 2 verses 3 and 4 reads, "Do nothing out of selfish ambition or vain conceit, but in humility consider others better than yourself. Each of you should look not only to your own interests, but also to the interests of others. A conscious decision to let others receive the attention and get the credit is tough for most of us. Someone asked the famous conductor, Leonard Bernstein, what is the most difficult instrument to play? He answered, second fiddle. I can get plenty of folks who want to play first violin, he said, but to find someone who will play second fiddle with enthusiasm is a real problem. Those of us who love first violin ought to try second fiddle once in a while. Those of us who like to talk would do well to listen more. Those of us who like to lead would do well to step back and follow more. Those of us who like to get the credit would do well to give the credit more. Let's intentionally point to others, lift them up, and make them look good. That's a good antidote for pride. To review, 1, when you prepare to brag, don't. 2, intentionally point to others. And 3, be courageously vulnerable. In the Message translation, Ephesians 4:25 reads, no more lies, no more pretense. Tell your neighbor the truth. In Christ's body, we're all connected to each other after all. You see, pride not only makes us seek the spotlight, pride also sometimes forces us into the shadows. One of my favorite books is All Over But the Shoutin' by Pulitzer Prize-winning author who was born the same year and in the same Alabama county as I was, Rick Bragg. Rick said his mother hated pride. She resented the fact that Bragg's father, for example, would sit for hours and shine his shoes or sharpen his knife, pridefully caring little about more important things like whether his wife had money for groceries. His mama warned Rick Bragg that Rick had his daddy's pride, caring too much, she said, for appearances. But Bragg made an interesting observation. He wrote, I would have paid more attention to her if I had not known for some time that it was precisely the same pride that kept her a prisoner in that little house. What an interesting insight into pride. On the one hand, a father so preoccupied by how he looked and how sharp his knife was that he neglected his family. And on the other hand, a mother with a different manifestation of pride. A lady so lacking in confidence, she would rather stay hidden behind the rickety walls of a small house than to leave the house and face people who might look down on her. Pride causes some of us to shine our shoes and polish our knives, and causes others of us to hide our truths lest someone look down on us. Pride causes some of us to make sure we drive the best and wear the best. Pride causes others of us to hide behind smiles, to conceal our hurts and our weaknesses. Prideful people find it really hard to share our struggles, our marriage struggles, our academic struggles, our work struggles, any struggles. For example, take mental illness. When we or a family member suffers from that illness, pride tempts us to remain hidden in silence, even when we or our loved ones could really use some help. The same thing is true of something like addiction. When we or someone we love struggles with an addiction, especially when that addiction has led to decisions we're disappointed by, pride tempts us to try and keep that hidden. But the courage to swallow our pride and expose our weaknesses is a wonderful thing. To speak of our struggles without fear, to come clean, to go public is really liberating and opens up doors for relationships that would never have been possible otherwise. Pride will keep us hiding in our houses behind our facades. The courage to speak of our weaknesses is healing and freeing. I understand the struggle. When my heart longs to share my failures, my pride shouts, "No, keep your secrets, else people won't respect you." When my heart longs to confess my fears and uncertainties, my pride shouts, "No, you'd be a fool to be so vulnerable." I understand your hesitancy. Certainly, we have to be careful about when and to whom we share our innermost selves. But don't let pride force you to hide the truth. Find someone you can trust. Let someone know. Truth is, not all is as well with many of us as we pretend it is. It's time we come clean. Again, the courage to swallow our pride and speak of our weaknesses is healing and freeing. Intellectual and spiritual pride have kept lots of people from following Jesus. For to follow Jesus requires a willingness to say, "I don't know everything," which is really difficult for some. And to follow Jesus requires a willingness to say, "I am powerless to fix my deepest problems, and I need the kind of help that only Jesus can give me." Don't let pride keep you from life at its best. And life at its best begins with Jesus.
Worthy of every song we could ever sing, worthy of all the praise we could ever bring, worthy of every breath we could ever breathe, and we live for you. Jesus, the name above every other name. Jesus, the only one who could ever save. Worthy of every breath we could ever breathe, and we live for you. Oh, we live for you. Holy, there is no one like you. There is none beside you. Open up my eyes in wonder. Show me who you are and fill me with your heart and lead me in your love to those around me. Lead me in your love, Jesus. Jesus, the name above every other name. Jesus, the only one who could ever save. And He's worthy of every breath we could ever breathe, and we live for you. Oh, we live for you. Sing holy, holy. There is no one like you. There is none beside you. Open up my eyes in wonder. Show me who you are and fill me with your heart and lead me in your
We pray that this half hour has been a blessing to you and want you to know that there are opportunities for you to engage beyond TV Church.
The best way to learn about that is at our new website, tvchurch.online. There you can hit the Contact Us button on the left-hand side to start that process. You can also connect with our online community, submit prayer requests, watch more episodes, and find other helpful resources. We're also easy to find on your television now, 10 a.m. on WAAY 31 in Huntsville. If you're watching us there, invite someone to watch along with you next week.
Today, Travis started a series on the 7 deadly sins. Let's close with this responsive prayer. I'll read the bold words, and you'll read the italicized words with John. Lord, you showed us true humility by becoming one of us.
Yet too often, we practice pride.
You cried alongside your friends for the city of Jerusalem.
Yet too often, we rush past the pain of others and are careless about our cities.
You loved those who were weak, despised, cast out.
Yet too often, we love those who are strong, respected, or popular.
You freely forgave and healed.
Yet too often, we hold grudges and cause pain.
You lived a perfectly holy life.
Yet too often, we do not yearn for righteousness.
You prayed that we would believe in you, should unite with each other and you.
Yet too often, we focus on the differences that separate us from other believers.
You were mocked, whipped, and even killed for us.
Yet too often, we deny you.
You call us to be the salt of the earth and the light of the world.
Yet too often, we blend into or hide from our culture.
Forgive us, Lord, so that we will shine with you in glory. Amen.